Alexa, play the Business and Beyond podcast.
Playing the Business and Beyond podcast on Next Gen Media.
Coming to you from the Apogee Graphics Studios, this is the Business and Beyond podcast on Next Gen Media. I'm Ashton.
And I'm Tony.
We are doing episode 20.
20. We made it, kid.
Of the Business and Beyond podcast. Well, I think we made it a long time ago. I mean, I think the average podcast lasts about 6 episodes.
6, yeah.
And the average is 9 episodes, and less than 10% make it past 6 episodes or something.
Shit,
so,
man, hey, we gotta crack one open for that.
Yeah, episode 20. It's a technicality, I guess, because we did a couple of mid-roll shows. So really, this is our 20th full episode.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. That's big for us.
So, in business, I guess, or in running a business or a side hustle, what kind of motivates you?
What motivates me?
Yeah, more of it being a passion, I guess. That's an obvious one, because if you have a side hustle or business you're passionate about. But just in general, I mean, like some people have some weird things. Like they love the organization of like being a manager or something like that. Like they love having just the way an office runs. And it's some people have other niches. What motivates you though?
Freedom. I think the freedom of owning your own business.
Being your own boss.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's a huge motivating factor for me. Just the ability to plan out your own day, to, say in the middle of the day, you want to take some time off, you want to go to lunch, you want to take a long lunch, those are things you can do when you run your own business, and that's the motivating factor for me. If I want to work on a Saturday, if I'm motivated to work, or sometimes on Sundays, man, I just have great ideas and I want to go do that. I like having that freedom of not just being a Monday through Friday thing, that it can be a, who knows, a Thursday through Monday thing, and then take a day off in the middle of the week or something. I like that.
And it's almost like just having that freedom, whether you use it or not, is like you could work late, but just the fact that you don't have to be there, you can leave whenever you want, kind of helps. You don't feel trapped. Yeah,
especially for myself in the type of business that my side hustle is, and having doing graphics, and I do a lot of design work and logo designs, and it's a very creative platform that there's just days you just don't feel as creative, and there's just days you just don't feel it. So it's nice to be able to take off and just get away from it. And then when you do feel those creative vibes, you can use those. Or I have a sketchbook somewhere here. If I have an idea, I just go and sketch out some stuff, sketch out designs or shapes or effects, anything that I kind of just see. And I'm like, man, that would really be cool to incorporate into something. I have that sketchbook so that I could be creative anytime, and then transition that into a design. I don't have to always be on to make something happen.
Some people might be motivated by sharing content.
Yeah.
It's almost like an art, the way, I'm not real deep into it, but I know with Rhino Sports, when I share content and there's multiple pictures, I may put the pictures up there, and I may delete the comment or the post altogether if the pictures look weird. It's like, let me rearrange those to look in a certain way. Some people, I guess it depends what sort of content you have out there. If social media is a big part of that, and that's kind of the face of your business, if it's an online deal like mine is, that's a big deal. That's how, you have your website and your social media accounts. That's kind of how your business comes across.
Yeah.
So how it looks may really matter. And part of it is keeping things going, like having content on there. If you're big on posting content on social media and you go 4 or 5 days without posting, you feel pressured to post something, whether it's good or not. You don't put any thought into it. You just post it. And then it doesn't get the audience you think it should, or. So that's kind of demotivating too. So part, I think, of being motivated is just it's like a turning wheel. You can stay motivated. You can keep doing things to keep you motivated.
Yeah.
So like in this show, we kind of made it a point to do a show every week. Now we missed last week, and
I was on vacation,
and we've missed weeks, and we have full-time jobs and side hustles, so it's hard to do a show every week. But I think we've only missed maybe 3 times in the whole time. We've never missed more than 1 week.
No.
So that's kind of a point that even if we don't know what the show is going to be about, it's not like, well, if we can think of something, we'll do a show. It's like, no, we're going to do a show.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's 3 weeks and then we do a episode and then another week and then we do an episode. It can get real demotivating. I mean, even if we, sometimes we do a show and it wasn't that great, or we don't feel that it was that great, but sometimes you do it and it's just fire, and we're done with the show and we're saying, okay, what's next week's show going to be about?
Yeah.
We want to do next week's show already, or we're at least plan next week's show already. And I think part of staying motivated is planning out what you're going to do. I mean, we have a lot of things coming through the pipes on our show. We're not going to really talk about it, but there's some big things coming, and not changes, maybe more additions. And that's kind of part of it. We're always looking forward to what we're going to do next.
Yeah. And that was part of this past week of not doing. I mean, I was on vacation, but it was more of a staycation, but we had some of these ideas that we wanted to start talking about, and that was where our focus was at the past week. But I think that was where the motivation was because we know we have these other ideas that we weren't thinking about the content for the podcast. We were thinking about the future content, and that's where we were kind of focusing, our heads were at last week. And when we talk about the motivation, like you asked me about motivation, like for my business, for my side hustle, but like the motivation for the podcast is different. The motivation for me on the podcast is how much we help. Yeah, I mean, really, it could be as simple as that. Help.
Yeah.
Like we do everything we can to help small businesses. We try to help reshare posts, share advertising, create advertising for the show. That's part of the future of what we've talked about that we're not going to get into too much now, but it'll be even more platforms for advertisers to be on to help push their brands. But for me, with the podcast, that's where the motivation is. There's no money. Everybody knows. If you don't know by now, you should. We don't charge for anything. Anything you ask us for, come to us for, podcast related, we don't charge you for it. But that's what motivates me, is just being able to help other entrepreneurs, and to see these entrepreneurs that we're working with now, to see them be able to grow, and see their brands just take off. And we have seen that, and I don't know if it's a direct reflection on what we've done for them, but it sure is encouraging to see that, to be a part of that, I guess, to kind of go through that journey with them. It's really cool. I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, and to be motivated, I mean, you should think we should always be motivated to do, especially if it's a side hustle. Your normal 9-to-5 job, you're just making a paycheck, whatever. And that's why I don't think money should be a big motivation. I mean, if you're making a lot of money, great, that you should be doing that then. But it's not hard to make money. I mean, if you need a gig to make money, it's not hard to go out there. Maybe not a lot of money. So you should do something that obviously you enjoy. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. That's like the saying, find something you love, you won't work a day in your life. It's like, I guess, but you're still going to work hard. Yeah. But you're going to be motivated. You want to work hard. You don't see it as miserable or anything like that. You're going to work hard. But there are times, I mean, especially with a side hustle or small business, if you have family or a full-time job, things get tiring. You just want to push something off till the next day. That's why I like, and on Facebook at least, you can schedule posts. You can use a Facebook Pages app and schedule things. That way you get 30 minutes to an hour just of free time. You just sit there and you post schedule your post for the week. Yeah. But just always moving forward is kind of a motivation for me. That's why I'm a real productive type person. Or not that I'm always productive, but in my mind, like I always want to be doing something productive. Like even when I do something like playing video games, I don't want to just play a game on Madden unless there's a point to it.
Right.
I want to just play a regular exhibition game. I want to do a franchise. So if I go on there and just play one game, that's moving forward. It's production. You know, when I read books, I always want to. I have a book list of what books I want to read.
You're not aimlessly going.
Yeah. So
things. There's a purpose for
if I grab
a
a book and read 5 pages or whatever, just because that's all I have time for, it's purpose because I'm going to finish this book and move on to the next book. So sometimes when I just have a lazy day and I just sit down and watch TV and don't really do anything, it kind of a drag for me. It's like, man, I got to get back on track, even if it's just little things. So that's something that can be really demotivating. Like I said about turning the wheel, you do something to move. You're always looking forward to what's next.
Yeah. That's part of what I spent last week being on vacation. I mean, we spent some time at Dinosaur Valley. We did some hiking and stuff, and just because I needed that refresher, but I stayed motivated and I stayed productive, and I worked on my side hustle. I have some things I want to do, kind of changing directions in some of the things that I've done in the past, and I wanted to work on and implement those into what I do. So I spent a lot of time working on that, through that week. I couldn't just take a week off and do nothing. And I think that you see a lot of entrepreneurs, that's how they are. I mean, they don't ever take off, right? You're always working, whether
you're
7
days
days a week.
Your refreshing was hiking and then thinking about.
I took a day, but even then I got back that afternoon and I'm kind of spending some time.
It's just not your day to day.
It's not the day to day, right?
And
exactly.
that's good to use that term, refresh. So if you are an entrepreneur and maybe you're demotivated to keep moving forward or to keep things moving, think of new ideas. Refresh. I know at Rhino Sports we have some stuff going on about new products, and just even if you weren't planning on it, just think, well, what can I do to reinvigorate things? I mean, if you have a website, maybe redo your website, add products, take products away. Man, I really want to be specific about some of the things we have going on for the podcast, but you'll see coming up little things. There'll be little hints coming
Literally,
up.
you're going to see.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're always looking forward. And behind the scenes, since day one, we always say looking at the next step. And then once we reach that, we're looking at the next step. And even if there's nothing coming on monetary, you're not seeing any monetary progress or just any progress really at all. It's just going on in your head. That's fine. Write things down. Just whatever you have to do to keep moving forward.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm like with my business, and what I'd spent last week was spending that time building kind of the behind the scenes in the business. I mean, I have a full-time job. It's a lot of long hours that I work, and that it's hard to spend a lot of time on my side hustle. So when I have a vacation, it's nice to be able to kind of sit down and implement some of those things that I've been wanting to do, because I have that extra time. Because the other time I'm away from my full-time gig, I'm producing products and things like that. So when I get that extended vacation time or even weekends, that's where I spend a lot of my extra time. The behind the scenes, the billing and coding, and
all the necessary evils you have
looking
to
at that,
do,
looking at some marketing campaigns and different things that I want to do, that I work on building those behind the scenes before I just go to market and launch something. So that's where I try to spend. So last week was a good week to do that, to be able to implement. But I mean, like I said, the motivation for me is that freedom that you have when you own your own business, and some of it, even though I have a full time, and whenever, if ever, that transition happens where I leave the full-time corporate America, whatever job, and I go into a just entrepreneurship program, just working for myself, when and if that ever happens, I'm going to be prepared. But that's what I look forward to, is that freedom that I would have, and even having the full-time, that the extra income that can come with that is a motivating factor. You mentioned it. I mean, that's not the motivating factor, but it is a motivating factor. I mean,
that's the point of doing it. I mean, that's the point of having a job, is making money.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be doing something if it didn't. But for me, I would say it's kind of like 50-50, really. Like it's 50% the money matters, but 50% that freedom matters. My family time.
But like I said, you can get any job and make money. That's why you have the choice to find something you want to do.
But I would love to have a situation where I didn't have to wake up Monday morning and work, basically you're on the clock. I mean, you're working until Friday and you get 2 days on the weekend. Like I want to flip that, and maybe I work 2 days this week. Maybe I work 7 days this week. Maybe, whatever it calls for or whatever is motivating for me to do, that's the freedom I want.
And in your particular situation, you service small businesses, or you can, or you really like to it. And in that instance, you kind of can be flexible because small businesses, they're working weekends and odd hours. It's not like if you're servicing big companies and you really have to be on the clock Monday through Friday, not, business hours. But to have that freedom, there are things you have to do, like those necessary evils we were talking about, that falls on you. And sometimes that can be a barrier to really being motivated to do something. It's like, well, I can't do that, so I got to do all this little crap.
Yeah. I think another thing for small businesses, I mean, you or I don't really deal with it. Of course, this is in my plans for the future, but would be dealing with employees in your small business. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a motivating factor when you have employees to make sure you're providing for them or giving them an opportunity to provide for their family. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of motivation there that you want to grow your business. You want your business to be successful, not just for yourself, but for the people that you employ. Because I think when you have a small business, those employees, I mean, they almost become like family, right? You spend a lot of time with them, and you put a lot of trust in them.
And they're coming to you with their issues because you're the boss. You know, there's not like a general manager and the manager and the ops manager. It's just you're the boss.
Right. A lot of times in a small business, I mean, you're talking anything like 50 employees and less. Like that's a small business. I mean, you know everybody in the business. It's not like a 100 plus company. So you know everybody. You know everyone's families. You know a lot about people. So I think that becomes a motivating factor. You learn what people like what motivates them. Maybe they have a side hustle. They're working in your side hustle. Maybe they have their own side hustle going. So, and not a lot of people can get past that. I actually enjoy that. Like, I would love to have some employees working for me and them have their own thing going, and to know that whatever they're doing here, and obviously you expect them to work hard for you, but whatever income or knowledge or anything they gain here, that they can take it and go do their own thing, right? That they can kind of meet their needs, like whatever motivates them.
That's something you worry about. You're like, well, you don't want them to know their side thing. You want to be focused on yours.
I'm complete opposite.
No, that's what I'm saying. Those people are the ones who are working hard because they get all the little things that matter. The being nice. That's for lack of a better word. It's a really weak phrase, but just treating the customers right. The little things like, man, they don't care. We could lose that customer, but I'm still getting a paycheck. Who cares? Let the manager worry about that. But the people who have their side things going, sometimes I'll admit it too. Sometimes my side thing, it's got a lot of little things going, and I have to put out those fires, or I have to do this or respond to this because I'm the guy. And maybe it's the middle of the day on a Wednesday. I'm like, okay, well, I have this taken care of at work, so I'll go handle that real quick or whatever. But I don't think, other than like something like that, I've never looked like not cared about my full-time job or let something slack because I had to go take care of that. It's I'm giving everything. I mean, you can't really give everything 100% effort, but you're giving everything you need to give to each one. Yeah. Because those people, the people that don't have anything going on, this is their 100%, or it should be 100% because, whether they have a family or not, but they don't have any side businesses going. Yeah. They're probably less likely to really be focused because they don't really care about the little stuff. But something you were talking about, you said employees. I guess it's more obvious, but we had mentioned it, is customers being your motivation. Yeah. And in a small business, everything that's going on with those customers. I mean, I work for a larger company and as a salesman, and my customers, I mean, you go to the big head honcho owner of the company and he probably can't listen, especially any of my customers. I don't have any multi-million-dollar customers, which isn't a bad thing. You can't expect him to know every customer, but when you're in a small company, you know exactly who the person is. You know a company name. You're thinking of a person who's the contact for that. So whether you say it's better or worse, but that's real motivating, because you find out somebody's upset about something. You can take time out of your day, call that person directly, and fix the situation.
Or if they, they give you a call on a last minute, item or project or something that they need. In most cases, in larger companies, these are our policies. This is what we follow. For someone like me, you call me last minute, you're like, hey, I need this sign put together. I need this banner or whatever it is. We have an event in, tomorrow or in 2 days. I mean, that's not my thing to just say, yeah, we turn things around in 24 hours. But depending on the customer, we can try to make things happen. I mean, a lot of it does, would depend on materials available. Maybe we have to come up with something creative to get what you need. But I'm the kind of person that motivates me as well, is that I want to make that customer happy. If you call me and you're like, hey, I need this sign, and I was really wanting this, but I'm like, well, I can't get that material. But if you need this tomorrow, here's what we can do, right? Like, here are the options we have. This is not the best option, but it's a option that can get you something tomorrow. So with that, they like that to me, that's a motivating thing, because once you do that for one customer, dude, they think you hung the moon. They're going to come back time and time again, and you're going to be their go-to when you do things like that. Now, you can't always. I've had to tell customers, hey, I can't. Like, that, I just can't. I can't get it. I can't do it. Like, it's impossible to make happen. And that's okay. But if you can, and you have to be motivated for that. I wouldn't just tell anyone, hey, make sure you take care of every single customer. I can't take care of every single customer to the level they expect. But those times that you have the opportunity to take care of one, you could win a customer for life. And I have some customers like that, even through rebrandings and stuff. Same customers come back time and time again.
And that's a positive spin to put on that, because as a salesman, when customers come to you, that's all they want. How quickly can you get it? What's the cheapest you can get it? And unless they just started a new business, they're coming from a different person, your competition or whatever. So they're looking at getting it quicker than that, or there's a reason they're calling you. So they need something, and it can be really easy to get a negative vibe on that and be like, man, they're just so arrogant. They think they can get anything as quickly as they can. And in a lot of cases, they may feel bad about asking. Like, I make it a point, especially when I'm talking to my vendors, saying, I know I'm asking for the world here, but what can you do here? This is what I need. And not everybody asks that. So sometimes it can come across as, the guy, it takes 5 days to do this. What is this guy thinking he needs it next week or tomorrow or whatever? Yeah. So I do that too. I'll tell them, if somebody wants a big load out of lumber out, I say, okay, typically it's 5 days, but let me see what I can do. You need it in 2 days. I'm not saying no. Let me talk to dispatch and see what I can do. And I milk it. I make sure they know I'm doing them a favor. Even if I go to talk to dispatch and they say, actually, we're not busy that day. Sure, let's put it up on the board. I'll go back and say, man, I really stretched. I really talked to them. I put it to them, but I got it for you. You know, make sure they know you're doing them a favor, so they don't think, I can just call them.
That's just what it is all the time. Because there are times that, like you said, you just can't get to it. Like, what if you were busy? You didn't have any trucks available. You would be in a situation you couldn't take care of that for them. So. Yeah, you would ask they didn't do that. I mean, that's one of the things that I do ask, and this is a little off topic, but that I do ask customers when they first come to me with, hey, I need this. This is what I want. Here's the design. Like, a lot of times I'll ask, when do you need it? Like, do you need it this week? Do you need it in a month? Because we need to know. We can't drive through a long design and then you're like, okay, I need this tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's impossible. I try to find that out early. Then I can push things in the correct direction, or
that's the same thing, because we're 3 to 5 days out just quoting out. If they send us a set of plans, and then we quote them out and say, all right, they're like, well, don't worry, we figured it out. We needed it last Tuesday. So you have to find out, because it's a lot of work just to get the quote done. Forget if your pricing's right. But part of being motivated, it's real motivating when you, as well as demotivating on getting customer feedback. Like if you do something great, or even if you don't do something great, but the customer's like, no, it's all right. That can be motivating. You really want to take care of them, as opposed to getting cussed out. It's really demotivating.
Yeah.
And I'm big on communication. So in that situation, they say, man, we need it out. Maybe it's Monday. You say, we need it Wednesday. I say, I can't do it Wednesday, but we'll push some hoops. Maybe, if they need a big frame load, and I'm going to get real lumber terminology here, but the bottom plate, the first thing you use is borate, treated borate, or just especially treated lumber. And then you have studs for your walls. So a big frame pack, they said it takes about 5 days. They say, well, we need it in 2. I said, well, let me see if I can spread that out and get you the borate and the studs first. That's the first thing you're going to use, because that's not a very big order. We can get that out in 2 days. And while you're doing that, we'll build the other stuff, and we can get that out in 5 days. So by the time you need it, doing little things like that, but letting them know, being in communication, rather than just saying, no, we can't do it.
Or just send that stuff out, and then they're like, whoa, you forgot this, you missed this. And they'd be like, oh, no, here's what we're doing. Like, communicate what you want to do.
And trust me, even the worst customer or the worst attitude you deal with, I promise you do little things like that, which you don't even think's a big deal, but you go the extra mile and say, well, we can't do this, but I can finagle this and do this. And customers can be so appreciative. I've seen the biggest assholes who never say good job, thank you, ever, even when you do them a favor. But when they don't know you're doing them a favor, but you work behind the scenes and they think, oh, that's just what you do. But you do little things like that, and then let them know, communicate to them what you're doing, why we are doing it this way, so you can do that. And they're so appreciative, especially when you screw up. I had just today, it wasn't really a screw up, but he put in an order and it was late. It was just a short order, but it was past the time. And I've told him this before, but he said, man, if I would have known I wouldn't get it till Monday, I would have just came and picked it up. And I said, I know I should have told you. I'm really sorry. He's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like he made it sound like it was a big deal, but just communicate, be calm. Always just say you're sorry or you apologize when it's, you think, air quotation, screwed up, when you didn't really screw up, but it was more on your fault. Just communicate.
Yeah. And
then you'll get the little things that motivate you, the good jobs, or it's not a big deal. We'll deal with it later, because I promise you that's what. You're not supposed to take things home with you, or like when you're done working, your home time. I promise you, unsatisfied customers or being cussed out or something, that'll stick with you and just ruin your whole day.
Yeah.
But little communication, I mean, they may be pissed off. It's like, well, okay, it is what it is.
I've always had the thought that, if, especially with my full time, I think more so it happened to me. My side hustle, it's pretty much a 24/7 thing for me. Like, I never turn it off. I mean, I adjust and move it around, and I create time, but it's not a hard set,
Well, in that case,
5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, then
let's say one job to another. You should just let that go. That's that job. You'll deal with that stress when you're dealing with it. You're dealing with this job now.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is with my full time, sometimes I see that if I spend a little more time, work a little bit longer, later in the day or whatever it is, to resolve an issue or complete something, it seems to make the next day a little better. If you leave something hanging out there and then you just, it never really gets out of your mind right through the night and the time you're supposed to be at home. Then you come back the next day and it's just like, okay, this has been sitting and festering.
Or
if I would have taken care of that yesterday, now I can start fresh the next day. And that's how I think about it.
I'll get an email about, hey, can you quote this out too? And I could really get on my computer and really work when I'm at home. But, it's like I can quote it tomorrow. But I have the email on my phone. It's 7 o'clock. I'll shoot back a quick email. Yes, I'll get to that in the morning or something like that. And you won't believe, oh my gosh, I love that you email me back at 7 o'clock at night. Like, I wasn't even expecting it. I was just sending the email so I didn't forget.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. Like, no, it's fine. It's just easier just to
it's a
email
lot
you back
respond,
rather than the next morning. I may get to work on it, but you have no clue. You haven't heard back from me. I may not get to, a lot of times, especially with special order stuff, I have to wait on a quote.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to wait for me to get you to type it up and do all the clerical stuff. So you may not know. You send an email at 7 o'clock one night, not hear back from me for 2 days. It's easier to just say, yeah, I'll work at it the next day.
Yeah.
And that usually buys me time. They don't even ask, oh, he's working on it. He's got it. Or I'll email back, hey, man, I got all your pricing done. I'm just waiting on one item. As soon as the vendor gets back to me, communication is we talk about, get off topic here. We talk about every episode we do kind of ties together. It's like, man, we could have a whole nother episode on this.
Yeah.
But just in order to continue to stay motivated, it helps to stay in communication is really what I'm saying, because it's real demotivating to something simple like just tell the customer this and they know, and now they're calling you back, cussing you out because they didn't know.
Yeah.
Just something little like that.
Yeah. So with Rhino Sports, what's like the big motivating factor for you?
I'm one who likes to, I really care about what I post on social media. Like I said, with the pictures being the right way, I feel like I look at that, I'm like, that looks good. Like if a million people saw it, they would just scroll down and see it and think, man, it just, maybe it's because I'm OCD. It looks good. Whether it sells a bunch of products or not, which is the end goal. But I just feel like you see those videos where it's like real satisfying things happening, something being cut the right way or whatever. I just feel like people see that and just like the OCD people of the world would see it and like my page just because they saw that I care about it. I mean, I see a lot of posts with grammar mistakes, and not that would stop me from, buying a product because they didn't get there and there right. But that's something that really bothers me. Like like, man, I don't like how that sounds. I'll sit there and post something for 20 minutes. Let me rearrange these sentences and do things this way. And that's something that kind of motivates me.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Things right.
I use on the Facebook, that Pages app. So when I post on there, and there's a lot of times, and almost every time really, I will schedule it, and then by the time it posts, I want to change the way the wording was.
Yeah.
I read it again.
And it won't let you edit it.
No, it doesn't let you edit it.
You have to delete it.
I don't delete it. What I do is I allow it, and as soon as it notifies me that it's posted, then I go in and I edit and put the way I wanted it. Because I'm like where you, and I mean, it's not grammar stuff more so I don't like that. That's not the way I wanted it to read, so it's funny you said that. Yeah, I enjoy that part of the social media and being able to create content. That is motivating for me too. Something that's new, and I guess I can go ahead and throw this out there. It's kind of something that I worked on last week, and it's not really a spoiler, but a lot of the way Apogee Graphics is going to go is I'm going to work on that's that help again, right? With us doing the podcast, that's kind of where I want to help in more areas than just this. That I'm going to work on, and if anyone follows, like you see some of my posts in videos, installs, I have a few things, but I want to post more helpful videos, right? Like how to install. I've started posting a lot of the products I use, the tools I use, even some of the vinyls and different materials that I use. I want to like enlighten and empower people, like this whole DIY kind of craze that goes on. And, nowadays, so many people just want to do their own stuff, that maybe I can help teach you what you need to do to wrap vehicles, or to, obviously some people with the graphics, obviously you have to have plotters and cutters and things to do cut graphics, and printing, you have to have large scale printers, flatbed printers to print signs and things, but that's where I can step in and help.
Yeah.
But to teach people as far as the install side of it, or wrapping, tinting their taillights, like teach people, provide them the products, provide them tools, help them, put a little say, even if they're just doing it for themselves, to help teach people the proper way and just kind of educate. I guess that's what I was looking for. Educate everyone about this type of stuff, Yeah,
because the byproduct of that would be, don't worry about the audience or the competition, but don't worry about the audience or the money. I mean, it'll come.
Yeah,
doing things like that.
That's
it'll
kind of
cause your viewership to go up or whatever.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm hot on right now. I mean, it's like that. I mean, there's a saying, and I don't know remember exactly how it goes, but it's like give to make profit.
Yeah.
like when you give and you do all these things for people, the profit, in the end, it circles around and the profit comes to you, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm hot on right now. Is I really just want to be so giving to people. You know, even in my business, even if I'm giving away a few dollars now, I know that it'll come back. You know, whether people want to, you know, they say, hey man, we really appreciate the content you've given us, the information you've given us. You know, can we buy these tools or these materials from you? Can you cut these?
Or even if they just
can we cut this stuff for
you,
me? I want to letter some stuff. Will you just cut the letters for me and I can?
Or even if they message you on YouTube or texted you on your phone or whatever, and ask you a question, knowing you're not getting a sale from them by what they're asking. You're just going to help.
Yeah.
You're not going to say, well,
I would never be a dick to somebody, you know, just asking. I mean, if you say, hey, you know what, I really want to wrap my own vehicle, I would encourage you to reach out to me. I mean, if anything, let me sell you the product. Let me help you get a tool kit together. Let me maybe even help show you how to do it. You know, like the proper way, not, you know, a bad way, like not learn bad habits if you're going to do that on your own.
Yeah, we have I'll have random people call me asking, say, hey, if I send you a set of plans, will you be able to tell me what beam I use here? Because technically we really don't charge for takeoffs. We'll just do a takeoff. You know, the same customer keeps asking. We're like, okay, if you're just getting takeoffs to take the list and get it quoted, that's, you know, but really you send me a takeoff, I'll do it. But they're trying to do it themselves because a lot of companies don't. They'll charge for it. So like, well, I can do the takeoff myself and get a lumber list. So, but I have a question on this, and I'll look at it and say, oh yeah, you need this or whatever. Knowing that maybe they'll come to me, maybe they won't. But the fact that I help them, they know now that's maybe they need something, they'll come to me later. You know, I look at it, you know, a good rule of thumb is, you know, if you're making sales calls or cold emails or going and visiting somebody, it takes about 10 times before they'll call you back or give you a chance. You know, I'll send emails. I've sent emails probably for months and months, once a week, and never heard any, not even we're happy with our lumber provider or yeah, let's quote this out or whatever. Nothing, but I keep going because eventually it might come to something, it might not, but it's just time I'm putting out there. But especially when somebody's coming to you, when you make contact with somebody, it's not necessarily hard to sell them on something. Yeah. Especially when they initiated it and they're asking you for stuff. But they know that if they're calling me, maybe they called somebody else and they were kind of like, well, give me your takeoff. You know, I'll do a takeoff for you or whatever. And they're like, no, I don't really want to pay any money. But, you know, I just said, yeah, I'll help you. There's no problem. You know,
yeah, even if it's just answering a question.
And I plan on doing this. Yeah, I plan on doing this probably unless, you know, my side business really takes off. I plan on doing this probably my whole life. So, you know, maybe that customer comes back to me in 2 years or, you know, whatever. Yeah. And eventually I get sales from them.
Yeah, and customers do remember that. I mean, a lot of times I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small business owners especially, that they get in that mindset of, I did this for this customer. They don't appreciate it. You know, man, maybe they didn't say anything right away, but if you just give them time and let it, like, eventually those customers really do remember. I've had customers, I've been doing graphics, you know, sometimes it's been full-time and sometimes it's been part-time. I've gone back and forth. I mean, I've been doing graphics for 13 years. So I've got a lot of customers from 13 years ago that still call me, you know, and they remembered like the time that you helped them out where you fucked something up, you know, and you made it right, or they were in a tight position and you did something for them. They remember that. So in the short term, maybe so. I mean, maybe you think, you know, maybe it's not turning around for you, but in the macro, in this long term, that hopefully all entrepreneurs, it's not just a short thing like that you're building for long term. Those customers will remember you down the road and probably will turn out to be some of your better customers because in the end. They're
going to choose where they want to buy whatever from based on one of two things. The price or what you can do for them. And trust me, if you're relying on your price to be the reason they come to you, you'll never win. I mean, maybe you'll be cheaper than this guy or whatever, but eventually they'll find somebody cheaper if that's what you're worrying about.
Or if you want to make enough money in the business to be able to make this your full time, eventually you've got to be in the market. You know, you have to be at that market average. Always being the lowest guy isn't gonna pan out for you.
I've had guys tell me straight up they're going with me because I called them back. Like, I answer my phone every time or get back to them pretty quickly. Because they don't care if I'm cheaper or not.
A lot of times the people you deal with, I mean, especially like for me or you, excuse me, you deal with businesses. With the graphics, I deal with small businesses. I do deal with individuals as well, but with the small businesses especially, their time is money. They look at it that way. They understand the time. So if you can turn something around for them, they see value in that, even if your cost is more. So if you can offer them something that saves them time, or they don't have to dick with for a long time, they see the value in that.
And I know I have customers that they're buying lumber from me, not my company. I have to correct them sometimes and say, no, this is the company. This is how you write the company on a check. It's, because they don't even care.
Yeah.
If anybody from my company is listening, any bosses or anything, I don't plan on quitting, but I could go to another lumber company and they don't care where they're getting the lumber from. They just know they call me. Exactly. And that's where, and I even had one because right now the lumber market is crazy. Right now things are doubling prices are doubling in just a couple of months. And I sent a quote. I requoted a customer. He's a small business owner, and it was just from a few months ago. Or a couple months ago, and he was ready to start building. And I was like, it went up about 30%. It wasn't even a big house. And I talked to him. I was like, and he said, I'm not going to go anywhere else, but what can you do for me? And I was able to finagle a little bit. It really wasn't much, but he was just so appreciative that I said, yeah, let me see what I can do here. And like I said, it was just a couple $100. It wasn't even near what we were able to price before. And he said, you know what? And I told him, I said, I'm not trying to jack you around. Take my bid. Not even the planes. Take my bid, the bid I did, and give it to, because I love those. When people give me bids from other customers or from other lumber companies, even if the price is on there, it's easy. I can get a bid in 5 minutes. I said, take it to another company. And if they're that much cheaper, you need to go with them. I don't want to lose business, but I said, take it. And he said, well, just see what you can do on the price. I got a couple $100 off, and we're talking $30,000 house. So a couple $100 is nothing. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to take it anywhere. It's fine. We'll go with it. Just little stuff like that. They trust you because you'll do that little stuff. Like I said, this is the same customer that talked to me about, I answer my phone every time or got back to him very quickly. Because sometimes when people, you're like, oh, I know what this is about, or I don't like dealing with that guy, and you just let it go, and you'll forget about it, and then he'll get back to you the next day, and things like that. He calls me at 8 o'clock at night, I'll answer the phone. Yeah. Because even if it's a bad thing, he's not gonna bitch me out about it. Yeah. So if he's calling me, it's for either to compliment us, or he really has an issue.
Yeah. Well, to tie into that, and kind of tying into what we talked about our last episode with branding, is you said, like, when you have that following, like, they're going to follow you. I mean, that's your brand personally. They're following your brand, not your company. So, and, with me, the same thing. I've been through a couple brand changes throughout the years, based on, these products we offer now, we don't. And for whatever reasons, we've had different branding changes that I still have the same customers that will come back to me because of me, not because of the company name that I'm using. Like, they don't care who, the check's written to, or now it's not even checks, as everything's online, paying with a card. Like,
but they know who to call. They're going to call you.
Yeah, they know who to call. They don't care. I mean, my phone number hasn't changed all these years, ever. I've had the same phone number since I was in high school. So that's never changed. They know who to reach out to.
Facebook or Twitter or something. Say, hey,
Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, we find out. I mean, I still have contact with a lot of customers that, in whatever ways that, they're going to reach out to me to do it. And even at times when I wasn't really operating under a business name, I would still get calls. Hey, I need this. I need a banner.
But they know that even if you couldn't or you weren't doing that you recommend, like, hey, do this. These people will take care of you or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of it. Like, so now with Apogee Graphics, previously I was partnered in Pioneer Graphics. So I've transitioned out of that company. We did signs and graphics and things, but we'd done a lot of T-shirts, a lot of hats, apparel. That had become more of that business. And just to be honest, that's kind of the reason we split the partnership, but kind of the reason that I transitioned and rebranded and didn't try to take that same name is because everyone understood under that name that it was a lot of apparel, And under my company now, I don't do apparel. Like I don't want to do it. I don't enjoy doing it. It's just not something I'm going to offer. But I will team up with companies. So if there are any apparel companies out there that are interested, I'll team up. I'll send my business to you.
There's apparel companies that don't like doing the graphics part of it.
Right. I'll team up with somebody. If I have customers that I do their signage, I'll send you files. I'll help design things. I can help design this stuff for apparel. I'm not interested in printing it. So if there are apparel printing companies out there that are interested, like I'll work with them. I'll send business their way.
Just like we have things going between Apogee Graphics and Rhino Sports.
Yeah.
That you cover some stuff, I cover something, which will, again, is something behind the scenes that y'all are going to see pretty soon. That's just thinking you do part of something and I do part of it. And you just team up and we can make money doing this.
Yes.
We know we can do that.
Yeah, and I've with Apogee Graphics, I have some deals working with you on some things we're going to do in the future, and I also working with another company that I have a meeting scheduled, set up for that. I'm going to talk to them about doing some stuff with them. Like it's that networking thing, and when we talk about motivation, that's motivating to me too, is to network and to be able to work with someone, even if, say, something I was going to go out. I don't want to get into specifics just yet because none of these things are all completely set in stone. But if I'm going to produce something, I can go out and I can produce and I can compete with you, right? Something that you could offer that you're going to offer. I could compete with you, but wouldn't it just be easier for me to take a slightly less margin and let you do some of that legwork? Yeah. I'll do the portion that I'm good at and pass it off and let you do some of that and help let you market that. Mm-hmm. Like just because, and that can be your product. Like I can be behind the scenes. My name never has to be on it, but it can be your product.
There's
just like I want to work with someone else.
Risk. More, I'm going to say less risk.
It's not so much that as it is maybe you're better to market a product like that than I am to market a product, right?
Well, it should be like risk. So if you decide you're going to do it, that'd pretty leave me out. I wouldn't even do it then at the specific situation. But if we were to do it now, we're competing and you're paying more for one side and I'm paying more for the other side. And it's, okay, well, now it's more risk because do you think we can get the business? And you're putting more money down for something that, as before, is like we're both putting a little money down. We might make a little money. If it takes off, we'll make more money. But it's
if we're competing against each other now, that's tough. So
you can make more of the pie, but how big is the pie going to be now?
But so for me, that motivating factor is to be able to work with somebody and help another company grow. Help. Maybe we get into a situation that I don't have all the funds to put up front for what the project that we're working on, but you do. So maybe we do that. Maybe you don't have the funds, but I do. But I know that I can turn these funds and they can, double or triple or more. Like if we have a good thing and we're both working together, it's kind of like a partnership.
It's growing your circle.
More of an unofficial partnership, but something that we can.
But when
work
you do
together,
things like that,
kind of team up together on a project. More so.
When you do things like in our situation, it's not going to make us grow any closer. We're as close as you can get, but you have other people who they're kind of acquaintances, y'all are friends or whatever, but y'all get that partnership, and it's one thing just growing your circle. There's nothing wrong with having people in your circle.
Right.
It's like politics. After a while, once you get to a certain age, you just have all these people. You can just pick up the phone, call them, and you have something taken care of.
You have a guy, right?
Yeah, you have a guy. You don't have to go Google something to figure out whatever it is you need and wonder, okay, is this the best price? Is this the best price? Let me post on Facebook. Does anyone know? No, you know who you're going to call. You have an expert on whatever situation.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
And that's like me too. I'll get calls at work, and if I can't provide it or I can, or it's going to be a long lead time, or I'll say, man, you could really get it cheaper from somewhere else. Like I can get you a price, but go call this person. They're going to get you a better price for it.
Yeah.
It's just there's not a value you could put on relationships. Having positive relationships as well as negative relationships, that can be just as bad, or that can be just as effective in a negative way.
Well, and sometimes that's, that motivating factor could come, you said that at times you might lose that motivation, but sometimes you having that kind of that inner circle helps to motivate you.
Yeah.
So,
especially just real quick before you make your point, is when you know you have a task to do, a daunting task, or it may be you just in your mind you're making it out to be, you don't want to go do it. You're like, I'll just put that off. I'll put that off. But because you know it's going to be difficult, but you know somebody, like, well, if I ask them, that's half the work, half the legwork, figuring out the first step. All it is the first step, and I think that's some of the most demotivating situations you can be in, is just getting started.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So with Apogee Graphics, I've been working on it for quite a while, building it and doing a few small projects here and there, really not going, what you would say, public with it, right? Mm-hmm. And then through this quarantine time, we were doing the podcast, and you know, as being part of my, I mean, not just my brother, but my inner circle, you kept pushing me, you know, hey, you need to start the Facebook. You need to get your social media really rolling. Start making posts, start doing this. And, you know, I kind of, yeah. You know, I put it off a lot, right?
Yeah.
But you kept on. You didn't stop. And for me, like, that was part of that motivating, right? You gave me that spark that I didn't have. Like, I wasn't motivated to just jump out there and really start pushing the business just yet. I was just doing things small, just kind of a little word of mouth. But for you, like, pushing me to go out and make it public, you know, that was that motivating. And that, for me, became motivating. But it's like, hey, look, somebody else sees value in what I'm doing and sees that, hey, this is your time now.
It's a different point of view.
Exactly.
And the more people you have that, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be small business owners in your circle, just other people in general. Exactly. It's different points of view. Yeah, you can have, let's just take Anthony, for example, and his business. Mm-hmm. It may not have anything to do with your issue, but, you know, y'all are just conversing, talking, and it's a small business issue, and he's a small business owner as well.
Yeah.
And an entrepreneur, and he has just a different mindset, and he can tell you, oh yeah, this is what I would do in that situation. You know, just having a different point of view, but, you know, the same like-mindedness as an entrepreneur does, because he goes probably through the same things. He has a full-time job and a side hustle, and he has different obstacles, but in many ways a lot of the same obstacles that you and me and anybody who has a small business or just a side hustle small business, if you want to call it that, as well as a full-time business. It's just good to have somebody to talk to in that situation, just to know other people deal with it, because things can get overwhelming, and that's kind of the first. I think that's maybe one of the main factors is when you just have a side hustle. It's not your full time. It's easy just to push it away and just say, you know what, I'll just deal with my full time job. You know, the main part is demotivation. Yeah, not being motivated to keep it going.
Yeah, so that in situations like that, it's super important to have that inner circle that you can kind of lean on or rely on, or maybe, you know, you tell them, man, I'm just super unmotivated. Like, you know, sometimes if you've been doing it a really long time, sometimes a rebrand is good, or, you know, like as far as logo, or, you know, you need something new, you need creation, or maybe you need to adjust what you're doing. Maybe you need to create more content for your side hustle, you know, step outside your comfort zone.
I feel like just pushing, even if you're not moving forward, just keeping it where it's at. And then, you know, maybe you go through a 2-week lag where all you're doing maybe is posting stuff, posting on social media or whatever. But you'll get to that point like you were on a vacation. You have all this time to really push it. But, you know, if you let it go to the side and let it go, you know, it's not real motivating because like, now you got to do all this work to build it back up. It's like, just, even if it's just keeping it at a steady pace, just keeping it open, keeping it where somebody goes on your Facebook and looks, hey, he hadn't posted for a month. Yeah. Like, this isn't, or if they went to our, you know, whatever, however you listen to your podcast, if you went to that app and saw we hadn't posted in 6 months, oh, well, they don't really, I guess they don't do this anymore. Yeah. You know, it's just keep it going.
I mean, I started getting texts because we didn't post last week. I get texts, I know. Hey, what happened?
I think this is the third time we've missed, and people are asking, hey, why haven't you posted? Which I think is a good thing that they're honest about that. Well, that's part of our inner circle. I bet you most of those people has been a guest on here or something, somebody we've helped. But that's kind of advice I give to you. Just keep it going. just do the bare minimum if possible.
Yeah,
I know
that-
we got families and full-time jobs. Just keep it, because when you have time to do it, you're going to be more motivated just to build it a little bit
And
more.
you brought up, if Facebook is where you use it. I don't know well, I guess there are some apps you can use that you kind of post to one place and they send out to all your social media. Everyone has a little different platform, but
There is, and the only reason I've told you this before, is you post one generic post, whether it's a video, and like I said, I'm OCD about how my posts look.
it doesn't
Post
look the
a
same.
little
on
different.
Yeah.
Like, man, if I just take an extra 2 minutes, which I get is people don't have time, and post it on Facebook in this format, go to Twitter, copy paste, use the same picture, and then Instagram, and
Mm-hmm.
it just, to me, OCD wise, maybe it's not worth it when you break down the dollars and cents of my time, but I feel like it's more worth
Yeah.
it.
But if you use something like that, you can schedule post out. I don't even know. I mean, I've never even looked at how
As
far
long as
out.
you
I
could
mean,
go, yeah.
I mean,
usually just
you can schedule the day and the time.
I'll do, like, on a Sunday, I'll schedule out for the week or whatever, and then
Right.
I'll regroup.
That, I do the same type of thing, and I mean, at least a post. I'm going to tell you every day. I'm going to tell you need to post every day, and that's going to help you to stay motivated. Just to see your post. Just when it posts, you can just go to it and be like, yeah, there it is. There's
Yeah,
my
because
post.
if you haven't posted for a week, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to just put some half-ass posts together because I have to post something.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like, I'll eventually get to it. I have to do something. Then another week goes by, and then another week. And that's, I guess, it depends on your business. If, like Rhino Sports, social media is a big part of that.
Yeah. I really don't think that, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your business is. Doesn't matter. You should be posting every single day on all platforms you're on.
Because all it takes is time.
And I think that's a minimum of one time a day. Like, really, I mean, for me, and I'm still working on building content. I have a lot of backlog content. I'm post-producing. I'm trying to work on some of that. I'm learning more about that. I'm trying to post twice a day. But it for sure every day, even through the weekends, 7 days a week, I'm trying to make at least one post every day.
Even if it's just sharing
And if I try.
relevant posts,
Yeah, it
just
could be
having your
that.
name out there. It's,
A big thing, like for us with the podcast, we haven't really utilized it just yet. There's another hint.
yeah.
But, we could go into post-production and break down an hour or 2 hour show into 100 different clips of things. I mean, whether they're drops or whatever it is. I mean, we could post
Another hint, we're not talking about audio clips.
Yeah, but we could post-produce a lot of content and break that down. I mean, one show could be a month's worth of content we could post. So anyone out there, when you're looking to create some content, look for opportunities to do, whether it's a video, think that you're going to put up, a 30-second to a maybe 1 or 2 minute video on something. Maybe look at something where you could maybe do a long 30-minute video and then break that up into several smaller.
While you're already doing it.
While you're already doing it, yeah.
It takes the motivation just to get the camera and just starting part of the time, like I said earlier, is most of the work.
I mean, take a video and then take some still shots away from that video and use those in post-production as things.
And
Whether you're creating some memes for your stuff and you want to use your own content.
And if you're a
to
small
create
business, that's a good idea to create your own memes. But and if you're a small business, there's a bigger business out there that you're modeling after, kind of watching, I guess, unless you just invented your own product. But to go to not necessarily competition, just these larger companies that they're not really competition. They don't even know who you are, but kind of the same, like I'd compare it to for Rhino Sports Academy. Couldn't be more different, but it's basically kind of a lot of the same products. Go to their social media account, see what kind of things are they posting.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to up your presence, do they have a big presence? Or what are they? Is it all deals? Do they share funny videos? What are they doing? And not necessarily copy them, but maybe go to 2, 3, 4 different ones and just kind of get an idea of what they're doing.
I think that's what I don't know, anyone that follows the social media, all social media, and on TikTok, you look at that one, and then for the most part, if you were to just not know a lot about it or not spend a lot of time on TikTok, you would see that it is a lot of just funny, goofy, lip syncing type stuff.
Yeah.
But there's actually a lot of companies that utilize that to show off and push their products. I mean,
do funny bits. And
yeah, I mean, we have this one here that, I actually purchased this from seeing it on TikTok. It's the Kong beer bong, right? Like this thing, it's a hard koozie, kind of like your Yeti type koozies, and but it has a little detachable beer bong on the side, bong like tube.
Yeah.
That it hooks to the side when you're using it koozie mode, and then you take it off and hook it on the bottom. It's got a hole in the bottom. You pour your
take a hit of that, drink. Just pour your beer down there and chug it.
Well, you just drop the beer in that, right? So, but this is a product that we saw on Instagram. On TikTok. And it's like, oh, yeah, let's go follow their Instagram. Well, they're on Facebook, too. Yeah, let's go look at that.
Yeah, so if you have a product, just kind of think of something funny you could do.
Exactly.
And see if you can make it TikTok famous. Like, here's a bit you do. Like,
yeah, and then you get people to follow, and it's like, oh, yeah, I want that product, right? Like, man, I could probably do it with my business. It'd probably work better with products you could send all over the country, like these. I think these came from
or if you don't have a product, you just have a name to get out there. Just under that name, do that challenge or that bit wearing your shirt from your company or whatever, there are many ways to market. You don't have to market if you don't necessarily have a product to market, but that's a good way too.
Yeah, and I think that
TikTok, there's a lot of bits going on.
That's another thing. We want to tie all this into our motivation, what we've been talking about today. Like, that can be motivating for you, is to spread out and go through different social media apps, right? Like Instagram, it's a completely different platform. It's a different ecosystem in Instagram than it is Facebook, and TikTok is different than Instagram. So, kind of, it's a challenge for you, really. It's easy just to go and make these posts on Facebook, right? But then when you go to Instagram, you really have to have something engaging to stand out.
Yeah.
Because everything's images on.
And you can use hashtags a lot.
Hashtags do help a lot,
more effective
and that'll help
on
spread.
Instagram than Facebook.
Yeah, like Instagram, I have people from all over the world comment and follow my graphics posts, because graphics are such a big thing.
Twitter, to some extent,
in the whole world. Really, in the U.S., the graphics and wraps industry is small compared to the Europes and other countries. They're much bigger in that than we are here in the States. But when you use those hashtags, then you gain that following worldwide. And it's not so much that I feel like, worldwide, I'm going to have someone purchase a product from me, or I'm going to do any business with them worldwide, but it helps to build your relevance. And to me, that's motivating when I have somebody, from Australia now that's following me, or from Europe that just started following me, or, wherever that.
Yeah, because you're relying on, I guess, you sharing on your personal, whoever knows, and then you're relying on other people sharing. But hashtags, they don't have to follow you. And
they can just follow the hashtag, and they see your stuff and they like it, or then that's how you gain followers through that. But that's super motivating too when you have people from other places. I don't care who you are. When you have someone from another country follow you, like, that's cool. Like, that's super motivating, and it pushes you to go even further. Like, okay, I've hit that goal. Now where can I go? Can I take that to the next level?
And part of having people in your inner circle, or just in your family in general, I guess, because you have those same people that follow your stuff, that like your stuff all the time. And it's motivating for a different reason when somebody from Australia or a different country likes it when they like it. But it's almost like you take it for granted, because if they weren't liking it, you'd be kind of bummed. But when you do like it, you're like, oh, it's just whatever. Although we love it when, we have the same bunch of people in our inner circle that are liking all of our posts and sharing, and that's another reason to have a good inner circle is sharing content. You don't have to ask, you don't have to beg people, you don't have to push people. They just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everyone supporting each other. But
that's, I guess we started this episode asking what motivates each other, and kind of really asking you too, what motivates you. And then we're moving to giving tips on, hey, this is what works. If you want to stay motivated, like we tell what motivates you, what motivates us, and other people said, well, now if you're in a lag and you're not motivated to do something, try this, try this, try this. That's kind of how
and that's
spending this all.
what I want everyone to, and if you own a business now, or maybe you have thoughts of starting a business, stop right now and then truly think about it. And it may take you time. It may take weeks, months, years. I mean, sometimes it really takes you. I mean, for me, it's taken a long time to get to the point now where I can look back and be like, man, this is what I'm really motivated to do. Ask yourself, what motivates me? Why am I doing this? And really start digging deep and find out what that is. And if you ask the question now, maybe you don't get the answer now, but over time, as you do things and the decisions you make will help mold, and eventually it's going to click and you're like, man, this is the whole reason. Like, I didn't know this was the reason. This is the reason I'm doing this. This is the reason I'm motivated in life. It could be family, it could be kids, it could be the freedom, it could be the money, it could be who knows what, the fame. Maybe you want that fame. You want to be popular. Like, that can all come with that. I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but find it, pinpoint it, and then that's how you work on building your business. You build your business based on what your goals are, right? Mm-hmm. So my goals for motivation are freedom. That's what everything I do is based on, me gaining more freedom for myself.
Yeah.
Right? So, or if it's money, you focus on the money. If it's fame, you focus. Maybe you have a bigger social media presence to build that fame.
What your focus is what you're building towards. It's not you're going to start a business. If your goal is to make money, well, you're not going to make money right away. Mm-hmm. If your goal is freedom, well, you're not really going to have freedom right away. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe just in that you do, but you're working a lot of hours on your so-called free hours from your full-time job.
Right.
So you're sacrificing what your goal is. You're sacrificing your freedom for more freedom.
To get to that point.
Yeah, you're sacrificing money and time for more money.
Yes.
And I guess time.
It's a trade-off. You're trading off. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to and you're going to have little spurts. Like some days you're like, man, that was, I got 3 new customers, or I got another 100 Facebook likes, but you're never going to, like, if you want to be famous in one situation, it's not going to all happen at once.
No.
You're not going to get 1 million followers in one day. It's like you take a step forward, you take a step forward, you take a step forward. Oh, you took 3 steps forward. Well, now you got another one, another one, another one. It's just kind of just stay steady right there, and then you'll have the spurt. Stay steady. You don't want to stop and then take a couple steps back, and now it's demotivating to restart again because now you got to earn those steps back.
Right.
So it's just going to stay with it.
For sure, build an inner circle, get a following, get somebody that's in your corner, get a group of people, group of other business owners that are in your corner. Maybe you don't want your competition, so go in other industries. Spread out. I mean, we have a lot of people that we work with in all different industries, right? Then in our inner circle together that, you have your own circle and I have mine, but then we have kind of a combined circle of people that they're from all different walks of life, all different industries. You never know what that's going to lead to.
It's just a different point of view from another entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It may not, your business is going to help my business. It may not have anything to do with each other. Mm-hmm. But, I'll tell you, just whether it's talking to you or back then talking to our father about something, you call and talk to somebody about something, about an idea you have. There's nothing more motivating than them saying, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea," you know, and then maybe elaborating on it and said, "Yeah, we should do it this way or this way." Just, you have an idea in your head, and it may not be a great idea. Give it a couple of days and then think about it later. But just talking to somebody else about that idea, it's it may not be something specific necessarily to your business. It could be rebranding or hey, I want to really grow my Facebook followers. Yeah. So I was thinking about doing this, and whether they can actually help you physically or if it's just more of a motivational thing or maybe they can tweak it, say, hey, you know what, do it this way. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Just having that person to sit there and listen to you either vent or just talk their ear off about your idea. That's invaluable. Yeah.
So I would say if you're struggling to find that motivation, or you're struggling to find a group or an inner circle for that motivation, reach out to us. Shoot either of us a message.
We actually have physical, maybe not, I don't know if we care about mentioning on here, but we actually have physical in place organized group.
Yeah,
not just like, we have people.
Yeah, it's fine. We have a private Facebook group of motivated entrepreneurs that are. It's a safe space for anyone that wants to, come on and ask questions. Maybe you're building your business. Of course, we want somebody that's truly motivated. This isn't just an open group for anyone. That there's a reason.
And
we
this
made
is
it
something
private.
I wouldn't just post on my personal Facebook page because
no,
I'm just gonna get a lot of probably negative stuff or stuff that's irrelevant. Maybe there's some entrepreneurs or small business owners that might chime in, but this is your direct audience.
This is us building a business and beyond. And if you want to be part of this team, a business and beyond inner circle, that we could bounce ideas off, that Ashton and I would bounce ideas off, that Anthony, he's part of it too. He's an administrator in the group. We've got Junior Zapata with his phone repair. We have
David Parada.
Man, I can't even think. We've got a few more on there. Also,
and we're trying to grow it. We don't want to just
anybody.
But we don't want to just let anybody in, but we're trying to grow it.
We do want to grow it.
There's not a limit. We want to grow it big. But
but it's a safe space for entrepreneurs and small business owners to ask questions, to gain feedback, but a place that they don't have to be worried about, hey, what do you guys think about this? We can give them some honest feedback, but positive feedback to help out your business. Maybe you have a new product you want to look into, or
another business you want to start.
Another business. Maybe you have some.
Want to do a lot of different.
You have
things.
Tax questions, or you have payroll questions, or hiring employees. What should I do? How should I handle that? Or subcontractors, like whatever it is, we want to have a good, safe space for that conversation to happen. Yeah. Where, I think between at least the group we have there so far, we should be able to touch every base. We should have connections or, at least contact information.
Maybe there's not
someone.
Somebody in that group that owns a business directly related to taxes or payroll or whatever your issue is, but somebody in that group's dealt with the same thing, and they'll know somebody, or they'll know, say, hey, don't worry about, do this, or call this person.
Yeah, but in a group, if you have some type of you want to do let's say a soft launch of an ad you want to do. Mm-hmm. It could be a group that could be like, hey, what if you did this, or what if you did that? There's a lot, man. There's just so much that could.
Or just say, hey, I need help pushing this product. Would y'all mind sharing these on y'all's Facebook page? Just little stuff like that.
Exactly. That's what we're just looking at, building an inner circle so that we've got a group of people. That way, when you're approached by someone like, hey, you know anybody that does this? You'd be like, yeah, I do. And I know them, and I know they'll take care of you. I know them. And
I think this is a good topic for maybe a future mid-roll show is just talking about this group.
Yeah.
That we could do here pretty soon.
Yeah. No, I think so too. That any entrepreneurs or small business owners listening, that if you're interested, look it up on Facebook.
The Business and Beyond Army.
Yeah. And then just kind of we're building our own little army or team or however you want to say of business owners to kind of combat this corporate world, to go out and support each other. Whether you're a small local restaurant or you're whatever you are, we want to help you.
Yeah. Again, let us know what motivates you. Message us on all our communication platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Rhino Sports Text Line. It's all in the comments below. So until next time, I'm Ashton.
And I'm Tony.